Welcome to Attenuation, a podcast where two friends come together to drink beer, discuss beer styles and trends, and just generally ruminate on the meaning of life, aka beer. If you enjoy your time with us, we invite you to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on social media for more fun content. So without further ado, here is the latest episode of Attenuation, a beer podcast.
Hello, and welcome to episode 107 of Attenuation, a beer podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Steven.
Hello.
How's it going, sir?
So good.
Yeah, you ready to drink some good beer?
I am.
Oh, I forgot what we're talking about. I was so excited to crack
You
these
like
beers
really
open.
jumped into that beer drinking segment.
Yeah. Okay, so last week, Steven did a really amazing interview that I sadly missed with Renee DeLuca, the brewer's daughter, to talk about New Albion. I listened. I was very jealous I wasn't there. He did a great job holding down the fort, Steven.
It was rough.
You did great.
I was like, wait, I got to do the intro.
Oh yeah, I heard. I should
This
just
is not good.
I should have sang the script. Well, I just messed it up today, and I'm staring right at it. So it happens to the best of us.
It was so funny. We're like halfway through. I'm like, oh, we are drinking beers. What are these beers?
That was really cool. She had some great stories, so I listened, and awesome. Thanks for coming on the podcast. Now, the week before that, we revisited our top 10 lists, which was really fun. And so we had planned the next thing we were going to do together was revisit our white whales list. So we're going to go over our white whales list from last time, which I think was all the way back in, when did we last do it? I think it was 2022. We both scripted. And,
Well, it's 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Okay.
So it's 2021, and it was around this time, I think, because it was one of our first, I think it was episode 3,
Oh, okay.
maybe. So yeah, super early on in the podcast, and in 3 years,
Nice. So we're going to do white whales 2024.
drank a lot of good beer since then.
Yeah. And we'll cover what we had on our old list and now what we have on our new list. So now we can do our first segment, which is the drinking beer segment. I was so excited because I have two really cool beers sitting in front of me. The way this works is I introduce my beers, give nose notes. Steven does the same, and then we cheers and do tasting notes. So today I'll be drinking two beers. The first is AleSmith Speedway Stout. This is just a regular Speedway Stout. I've had the barrel aged, which is very good. The thing behind this is they kind of work with like a local coffee roaster. So it's a really good coffee stout. But then I also have they do a lot of collaborations. And this collaboration is with McKellar. And this is their barrel aged vanilla shake. So this one they basically took the Speedway Stout and then they bourbon barrel aged it with coffee, vanilla, and natural flavors.
And by regular stand, you mean not barrel aged at all, right?
Yeah, this is just the Speedway Stout, not barrel aged. I think the barrel aged, I think they do once a year, but I think they make this year round.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. Let's see. Okay, so I got them, keep them straight. I pour them in different glasses. The fancier glass is the barrel aged. Okay, so I'll give nose notes on the regular one. Dark roast, black coffee, like chocolate, dark chocolate. That's about it on that one. It's really roasty. Has a really nice roasty smell. Okay. And then I assume this one's going to smell very similar, but with bourbon and vanilla. Oh my gosh, this smells so creamy. That vanilla creaminess. And I do get some bourbon notes. It smells boozy. This one's 14%. Yeah, the coffee's still there. The coffee is it smells a little bit more like milk chocolate, like way creamier. And definitely a lot of vanilla. Wow, this smells really good. Yeah, bourbon, vanilla, sweet chocolate, like milk chocolate, coffee, and roasty malt.
Awesome.
All right, what are you drinking today, Steven?
All right, so I decided to go with kind of a fun one. This is from Heist Brewing in North Carolina. My first exposure to them was when I searched for a beer called Citraquential,
Okay.
which is all Citra IPA, and loved that one. I think I did it on the podcast head to head with Pseudo Sue, maybe,
Oh, okay.
as sort of an all Citra battle. So anyway, that was a great beer. This one from Heist Brewing is called Passively Aggressive. It is
like the name.
it is a foeder aged sour ale finished on Balaton and Montmorency cherries.
Oh, nice.
So
That's going to be good.
it says, "Don't let the name fool you. We were very direct when fruiting this beer. at a rate of 200 pounds per barrel of cherries.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of cherries.
Yeah.
That's quite red.
Quite red, sort of a thick head on that. Very wild smelling.
Mm-hmm.
Very funky. A little bit of red wine notes to that, very vinous. A little bit of a vinegar smell to that
Okay.
too. Definitely getting some cherry. It's muted. It's like a dry cherry.
Okay.
Yeah, very very like wet hay, grassy
Okay.
funk. Got a lot of that coming off of that. So
Interesting. All right, sir. Well,
cheers.
cheers.
He's double fisting it tonight, folks.
Yeah. This is fun. These were fun to try next to each other. So the regular AleSmith Speedway Stout, I really think you should get your hands on one, Stephen. Do you remember when you tried that? Was it the Reve Coffee Stout?
Yeah,
I
from
think
Parrish.
you love that one. I think you would feel similarly about this AleSmith Speedway Stout. It's roasty black coffee, a touch of caramel, a tiny bit of dark fruit, and then like baker's chocolate. So very roasty coffee, and then just a little bit of those darker stout flavors, and then the baker's chocolate. So it's basically black coffee stout, right? And then the the vanilla shake one is like they took it and turned it into like a Starbucks drink. So like right off the entrance, it's sweet, creamy vanilla, not overpoweringly sweet, but just the difference between the two is staggering. And then instead of baker's chocolate, it's like milk chocolate, and then it's almost like a macchiato. That sweet malt note is coming through as like caramel, and that kind of like mixed with the coffee and the vanilla, and I feel like I'm drinking a fancy Starbucks drink. And then it kind of rounds out in the development into just bourbon and bourbon barrel. That's the finish. And 14% ABV is just absent. So it's cool because like the coffee theme definitely carried over, but the addition of the barrel aging and the vanilla just totally changed the character. They're both solid. This vanilla shake one is fantastic. I don't know if this is a one-off or if they do this with
I think they keep
regularity.
doing it if I remember right. But
Yeah, I would definitely get these again. Thumbs up across the board on these.
so out of those two, you like the vanilla one better? Or?
Yeah, so the
I
vanilla
mean, you're a
shake,
bourbon barrel aged guy, so.
it has more complexity. Like the Speedway Stout is a super solid coffee stout, but it's just a little bit less complex. Whereas like I feel like you get like a little bit of like a crossover into the development. Whereas the Speedway Stout is kind of consistent throughout. It's not a good or a bad thing. It's just
Yeah.
I like barrel aged stuff.
Nice.
And I don't know where they hit both of these. Like this is the regular one's 12%. The barrel aged one is 14%. You can't taste alcohol in
Not
either
there.
of them. So I'm gonna be in trouble this episode.
Nice. Well, it's Saturday tomorrow, so.
It's true.
Well, so luckily I did not pregame for this episode because multiple people that have listened to the episode were like, "Wow, you were slurring your words there, buddy."
You were fun, Steven. Yeah.
So I apologize for anyone.
No, you're fine.
That's what happens when you pregame with a parabola.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my beer is so good. It's really funny because the nose notes were so funky and kind of grassy and wild, but the taste is just all tart cherry juice. It is not that sour, not like puckeringly sour. It's mostly just sort of the tart cherry coming through. A little bit of like it's very slight funk, but more the wood character, like the foeder characters coming through. So a nice like oak touch to it, but it's really like oak tinged cherry juice. It's really good. It's really good.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's really good. It drinks really easy. Well done, Heist Brewing. They're 2 for 2.
That's awesome. I was actually going to look up really quick. I think I had a heist. I finally started recording everything in Untapped again. I wish I never stopped because it is nice to just look things up.
You're doing such a good job with that. I'm terrible. I'm so terrible.
As much as I make fun of this app,
Oh, yeah, it
actually works pretty. Like in certain ways, it is good because if I go to Heist Brewing, I can see like if I've tried anything from them. You know what I mean? So
right. It's a good way to track your beers.
Yeah.
And so here's my take on Untapped. My final take on Untapped.
Okay.
The problem with Beer Advocate is that more rare things or new things or one-off beers are not on there or don't
Okay.
or have like 3 reviews.
That makes sense.
Whereas Untapped, where you have like someone going and they're checking them in and stuff, you'll have so many more reviews on beers that you don't even see on Beer Advocate.
That makes sense.
So that is my big. So all the OGs and stuff that's been on there forever on Beer Advocate, yeah, it's kind of good for that.
Right.
But it doesn't capture new beers very well
at all.
So
yeah, I like to use both.
New beers or one-off beers.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I have not had anything from Heist. I got confused. I had something from Prison City. So it must have been like a crime folder in my brain. Because that made me think of Prison City. That's what happens after you do the heist. You go to Prison City.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can see how those would be tucked into the same folder.
Yeah. All right, cool. So that was our drinking beer segment. We're gonna have a good time because we both have thumbs up. You did thumbs up, right? Yeah, huge thumbs up from Steven.
This is giving me Belgian red.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I bet it is. I gotta keep an eye out for that one. Okay, so next we're gonna do postscripts. Where I don't think we have one where we correct things from previous episodes. Again, I just lament missing episode 107 with Renee, but that's okay. And then we have beer news, and then we have storytime with Steve, and we also have a storytime with Jason. So we have a packed second segment for you before we get to our main topic of white whales.
So many things today. Okay, so kind of one big thing with some little sub stories to it. They came out with the top 10 best-selling craft beers in California.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to sort of caveat this with craft beer is not the Brewers Association definition of craft beer. This is just the more sort of accepted definition of craft beer.
Okay.
Which is just not the macros.
Yeah.
Because some of these breweries have sold out at this point. But sort of the highlights, basically. And again, this is these are the top selling beers. These are not going to be the 10 best beers necessarily in California, right?
Right.
But these are more high volume beers. But the list is kind of interesting. So it starts with Firestone Walker's 805 Cerveza. That's number 10.
Okay.
It's kind of a nice option if you don't want to do a more macro Mexican lager like Modelo or something like that. So, or Corona. So cool. And that's cool that it's selling well.
Yeah.
And then as you sort of go through the list, it's Lagunitas IPA, Stone IPA. Those are the ones where you're craft beer, And then, of course, New Belgium has a couple Voodoo Rangers, Juice Force. And
so see, Lagunitas IPA is craft beer to me. Juice Force is not. Juice Force is malt liquor in a can that says New Belgium on it. That's my hot take.
Oh, they're killing it with that Voodoo Ranger series, though. I mean, they are experiencing growth unseen in basically any other.
Yeah, and when I was 19, Old English and Steel Reserve were killing it too, but they weren't good products.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. The cost to alcohol ratio is very high.
It's good.
Or very low. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very low cost to very high alcohol ratio. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so those are on there, and then Sierra Nevada has a couple beers on there, and probably the most interesting story out of all of this is that Hazy Little Thing from Sierra Nevada has now outranked Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, so it's outselling Pale Ale for the first time.
That's
ever.
Crazy.
In real time, you kind of see that
the shift
from a beer that has been,
oh yeah,
has lived at the top of that list for a very, very long time, is now been displaced by its own beer.
Well, it's kind of cool that it's the same brewery making this is they're adapting. And I feel like Hazy Little Thing, I could be wrong about this, but wasn't that one of the first mass produced hazy? Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when that first came out, it was because nobody was canning him.
Sure.
No, not very many people were canning them.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they were canning them, it was very local because there was a lot of, questions about how
long it would last. And That was like,
shelf
do you
life and
remember
stuff.
when we went? I feel like we hit Moonraker like right at the turn of like the hazy revolution, and they refused to can anything. And now
Mhm.
they do because people have figured out if you keep it cold and then drink it within like 2 months, it's okay. But so Sierra Nevada maybe was the first to start canning hazies.
Yeah, it'd be interesting kind of look into that history,
Yeah, we could postscript that.
but yeah, definitely early into that game, and they've really expanded that line now.
I know the little thing line. They have a sour or tart little
Yeah,
thing or
they have like a
sour little thing.
wild little
Yeah,
thing. Yeah,
wild little thing. That's what it
yeah,
is. Those are really good gateways to all the styles. They're smart.
yeah.
I like what they're doing.
It's really cool. So that was a big takeaway, and then 805 from Firestone Walker ended up taking the #1 spot, which
Wow.
is really cool too. California's favorite beer, Firestone Walker. And then kind of like jump tangential to that news is Firestone Walker announced that they're coming out with a non-alcoholic version of
Of
805 called
course.
805 because yeah, why not?
Man, it's amazing. The number of people that are jumping into non-alcoholic beer is incredible. I saw Don't Drink Beers on Instagram just reviewed Brooklyn Brewing has a non-alcoholic beer now. It's like everyone's getting to the non-alcoholic beer game.
Yeah. We'll have to do an
We have to do
episode.
an episode. We have to. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to stay trendy, right? Uh we either evolve or we
Or
die.
die. Yeah.
But what's interesting, there's some really interesting information in that space of like different technologies and methods to removing alcohol or
Yeah.
brewing how you brew a non-alcoholic beer. It's really interesting, and it's a lot of it comes down to like how much do you want to spend, because you can spend money on some very 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 expensive equipment
Yes.
to actually make good non-alcoholic beer, but it's just what investment you want to make
Yeah,
in
you're
that.
really committing if you're buying. Yeah.
So we will do that episode for sure, because there's a ton of information in that space, and it's interesting because I don't know any of it really. We will all learn together.
Yeah, no, I'd love to learn because I know there's different methods and I know some are better than others, and it'd be a fun episode. And it's hot. It's like, isn't it like the fastest growing segment of craft beers? Yeah, alcoholic.
It's really crazy. Yeah, it's
I,
huge.
I say as I sip my 14%
Yeah.
craft beer every day. Yeah.
Another news story out of California is that Anchor Brewing, who, we talked about how it's like one of the oldest operating breweries in the United States, they were going to close down. They have effectively closed down, but they were looking for a buyer, and they seem to have found one. So they just announced that there is a buyer. They have not announced who that is yet. So we will certainly update you on any changes to that. They were supposed to have announced this like multiple months ago. So
Oh, okay. So it's been in the works.
yeah.
That's awesome. I'm really glad someone's buying them because I did not want to see them fall.
So we'll see who ends up buying them and what they end up doing with
Right.
Anchor. I mean, I suppose they could just buy and then sell everything off.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we'll see what
it's
they
hard
do.
to say like if they were mismanaged by what was the Japanese company that bought them? Was it Sapporo or I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
Anyways, I don't know. It is worrisome, like if they keep doing what they're doing, if they went out of
Right.
business doing what they're doing, maybe they need to do something else. But who knows? It's depending on who bought them. Maybe they could iterate on what they do and they could be very successful because they have such a legacy and such a brand name. And I think people want that company to succeed. Obviously, like there was like that basically like a grassroots campaign to raise money for the employees to buy it. But yeah, it's 100+ year old company. So I think people want to see it continue.
Yeah.
We'll see. So no real news on like who bought it or anything, but we'll keep an eye
No.
on it.
And then I don't know, like I feel like we kind of talked about this or not, but Ballast Point selling their big facility. So
Yeah.
I got a little bit more information on that. It's like Ballast Point becoming a local brewery. Like they're contract brewing out now with a smaller space and just making enough for their local restaurants and stuff. So you're there's gonna be that huge pullback from stuff being out in the grocery store and stuff. It's gonna be
Did you ever
all
read Flowers for Algernon?
no.
And you didn't have to read that in high school? Oh,
No.
you should read that. It's the story of Ballast Point.
Having to come back
It's
home.
about like, I don't want to spoil it, but it's about basic roots expanding to transcendent heights and returning to basic roots. Yeah. Which is
what's happening
Ballast
there.
Point in a nutshell. It's like they sold for $1
Yep.
billion, and now they're gonna be like a local brewery
There's
that
just-
doesn't distribute. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like us again, Ballast Point. You're just like us. That's awesome. Okay, so and then another cool story. This is something that happens every year. Well, Pliny the Younger release happens every year
Yeah.
for 2 weeks in Sonoma, both at their Santa Rosa location and their new Windsor location. And I don't know when they started, if they've always done this, but they come out afterwards with the economic report and just the economic impact of the Pliny the Younger release, just as kind of a little showing off maybe of but I do like this because it does kind of show that this stuff is still alive.
Right.
You know, we talked a little bit about how some of these like hype releases are kind of dying, I guess, but or that sector of craft beer is dying off, but
Yeah.
I think it still in some places exists for sure. And the impact of that to the local community is really important. So they just come out with this kind of cool report. They had a total of 25,000 attendees,
Wow.
basically evenly split between the two locations, about 12,500 people at
Very
each
cool.
place, which the new place is much more
I was gonna
equipped
say,
to handle 12,000 versus
yeah,
the same.
I'd much rather go to the new location than the old location. The old location is tiny.
Yeah, 100%. And just like parking and everything is not fun down there. So
Yeah.
99% of the survey takers said that they would attend future Pliny releases.
There you go. It's not dying.
The average group size was 3.5 people. 65% of the people had been there before. So fair amount were there for the first time, which is cool. The average for people who were there returning, what would you say the average number of times they've been to a Pliny the Younger release would be? It's high.
Okay, it's high. I'm gonna say 4 to 5.
6.
Oh, dang, 6?
So the average person that's returning has been to 6 Pliny
That's
releases.
the average too.
Yeah, that's the average.
That means some people have been there like 12 times.
Yeah, crazy,
Yeah.
right?
That is actually quite crazy. You know, it'd be fun. I'd like to see that data cross-reference with like regionality. Like, is the majority of people that have been 8+ times like local to Santa Rosa, or are people actually like flying out every year?
I would believe it.
Tell Russian River I want advanced stats, or I want access to their data.
Okay, I'll let them know.
Okay, I'll plot it out.
The average group spending. So we said the average group size is 3.5 people. The average spending per group is $330.
Okay.
You spend about $100
Yeah,
per person. Kind of checks out between food, beer, and
makes sense.
And merch. Definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
I know. I usually drop $150.
You're like I've done. You're like I'm part of that statistic. Yeah.
40 states were represented.
That's awesome. Wow.
7 countries.
That's really cool.
261 direct hotel bookings from Pliny attendees.
Okay.
So total economic impact they estimate at $8.6 million. And that is like, obviously, I mean, there's inflation and stuff, but in 2018 it was 3.4 and it's steadily increased about 1 million per year since then. 2023 was 6.3 and this was 8.6. So huge economic impact from Pliny the Younger. It's really cool that they released that data. I think it's just very interesting to me, at least.
Yeah, I like those stats. We gotta become part of those stats in 2025.
I know, right? I want to fill out the survey, by the way, because I don't feel like I've ever filled out.
I know we haven't.
So I'm wondering how they get that data.
Yeah.
It's aggregate data, I guess.
Yeah, it must be.
I'm gonna ask next time. Who gets?
How do you
survey?
get that data?
Yeah.
Well, I've been there's people
that I want to fill it.
If you go to Disneyland, if you pay very close attention, there's people in the entrance that ask you like, they'll be like, hey, can we ask you a couple questions? And ask you like your party size, where you came from.
Yeah, I've been asked a few times. Yep.
Yeah, they build all the same metrics. All right, cool. So speaking of Firestone, did you know we're only 2 weeks from hanging out in person and going to the Invitational?
2 weeks from today.
I'm
will be
hyped. We'll be in person.
at this exact hour. I will be
Maybe we gotta record
hanging
an
out.
episode. Maybe
When are we gonna do
the
that?
timeline is
Actually,
gonna
we
be
could do that. We could do that.
timeline's gonna be tight. And don't forget, we have to drink our Deal with the Devil.
Yeah.
It's in
So
my fridge right now.
Yeah. So the only opportunity we're gonna have to record is the night before, Friday night before.
Okay.
But we could if we could do that and then drink the beers.
Maybe, yeah.
could do
Even
a
if we don't do a whole episode, maybe we could do like a tasting and of Deal with the Devil.
And Firestone Walker Eve.
Yeah.
Hypes.
Being hyped. That'd be fun.
Yeah. It's funny. I've been downloading the app because they have a really great app. And I downloaded the app. I had deleted it off my phone since last year.
Yeah.
But I can always just re-download it and log in, and all my stuff is there from last year. And so I've been kind of like downloading it, checking it, being like, oh no, it's still all 2023 stuff. And then you texted me yesterday, I think, hey, 2 weeks to the beer fest. And I was like, oh, dude, I gotta check and see if it's updated. And sure enough, it had. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like running through the list so quickly.
Dude, you texted me toppling Goliath, and literally I didn't even let you finish texting. I just texted back Vanilla Bean Assassin. I was like, dude, tell me they're gonna bring it. And you're like, yes, they're bringing it. And I was like, oh.
So I have to tell you, my first reaction, the first brewery I looked up when I opened the app was Side Project, because I wanted to know what Side Project was bringing.
Yeah.
And I was very disappointed with their list.
Okay.
Like, they're not going to have OWK.
That sucks.
Their beer barrel time,
Yeah.
And so I was a little disappointed in their list. And then I just happened to notice, wait, Toppling Goliath is going to be there. I didn't even realize that. And I opened it up and Assassin's on there. I'm like,
I can't believe
yes.
Yes. That's, I'm so excited.
More unbelievable is that Three Floyds is going to be there, and they're going to have Marshmallow Hangy.
I saw Three Floyds on the list, and I clicked it, and I saw Marshmallow Hangy pop up, and I was like, yes. I was like, 2 of the top 5 on the top 250 list are going to be there.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, as the more I went through the list, again, my initial Side Project disappointment,
whatever,
it was tempered by
all the
other
project.
beers.
Yeah.
Because, and you'll see, I won't spoil anything because we're gonna go over our white whale list.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna end up catching a bunch of the white whales that I had written on my list. I was like, oh, all these are gonna be at the beer fest.
Yeah, you were right about Firestone Invitational. Like, I'm so excited we're going this year.
Yeah, it's very, very fun.
Okay. I'm hyped.
I'm just praying for like decent weather. Just a little cooler than last year. It was too hot.
We might get lucky. Yeah, I'm a little worried about that, but a couple
things. It is what it is.
Should we bring pretzel necklaces?
You don't really need it because there's so much food.
Okay.
There's so much food.
All right.
Maybe so much food. It's unlimited and free. And
I got some tricks up. If it's hot, Steven, I got some tricks. Okay. My wife is
I have to tell. I'll tell you. Okay, so I'm notorious for. Well, I drink pretty responsibly with you.
Yeah.
I've only had one like really, really bad beer fest. Well, there was the first one with you, where we tried to hike afterwards, or to hike the next day. That was not that great.
You, I had a great time.
Yeah, you were fine.
I made it to the top.
Yeah. Still to this day, don't know how that happened.
Dude, I felt so bad for you. I was like, "Are you sure you want me to go?" And you were like, "Just go. Leave me here." Yeah. I'm glad you did. I might be dead when you come back. Dude, we need to have redemption. Next time we go to Great American Beer Festival, we're having a redemption hike. We're going to do that same hike because you have to get to the top. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's like this fire outlook, and you can just see like hundreds of miles in every direction. And poor Steven was so hungover, he just died. And also, I think we told the story before. The drive in, like we looked it up online. It was like, oh, dude, this hike is so amazing. You have to drive off road for like 20 minutes. So we're taking our poor rental car, which I don't remember what it was. It was like a Hyundai something.
It was like a Subaru, I think.
Oh, it was a Subaru. You're right. Oh, good memory. Yeah, so it did okay, but you're just driving on like gravel and rocks for like 20 minutes, and poor Steven's like hung over out of his mind just dying in this car, as we're like rattling.
Yeah, and what you don't do with a hungover person, like even mildly hungover person, is then take them to 14,000 feet.
Yeah.
It's like I probably at like sea level I would have been fine, but I was not at sea level. But no. So anyway, off that, I've had like the Texas Beer Fest this last year was really, really bad. Like I got so drunk. But last year when I went to the Firestone Walker Invitational, I left there like fine.
Okay.
Perfectly fine. But we did a lot of those like supplement things, like the alcohol supplement stuff. So
Yeah, we're doing those liver pills. We're doing it, and I'll bring all my wife's drinks. She has like these evaporating cool, because she's a big Disney person, and sometimes Disney gets really hot. She has like these fans that mist you, and she has these evaporative cooling towels you like put over your neck.
yeah, you just get them like wet. And then you
Dude, they're
put 'em on,
amazing. Yeah, and it lasts like hours, and then you just like redip them in water. We'll be good.
All right, cool. Be so
All
ready.
right. I think we covered all our news, but we have a story time with Steven and we have a story time with Jason before we get into our white whales.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, real quick, the podcast magic is unreal.
It's so real. I can't believe you.
Yeah, it's alive and well. And we haven't had like a good like podcast magic story in a little while, but we're casually talking. Well, we were talking about Briny Melon, of course, from my top 10, which is my favorite Goza. It's my favorite version of the Anderson Valley Goza. But I also love the original plain one, which is the Kimmy, the Yink, and the Holy Goza. I haven't seen it. I mean, I haven't seen it. It's been years.
Dude, it's impossible to get. I feel like they don't make it.
Yeah. I really thought, like, I just don't think they make it anymore, honestly. Their fruited versions do well. They just make that. And then I'm at Brewtique, which is my local beer shop. And honestly, I'm about to leave. With nothing, by the way. I walked through the whole thing and I just was, I don't know, very disillusioned by.
Yeah.
Well, you know me, I don't want to buy like a 6-pack of something.
I know.
And nothing in their singles was like really standing out to me. And I was just kind of like, maybe I just won't spend any money. And then it just happened to catch my eye and I was like, wait, that's Anderson Valley. Wait, what? That is the Kimmy, the Ink, and the Holy Goza. What? They had 2 6-pack cases of it. So I bought 12 cans of it.
You got 12?
Yeah, I bought both cases.
Nice. It's so good, right?
So good. I didn't even make it to my car. I just sat down because it was from the fridge in the beer shop. So I checked out and sat down next to my car and just popped one, drank it out of the can.
You texted me a picture of that, and we were eating dinner, and I was just dying laughing. Yeah. And my wife's like, what's happening? I was like, nothing. I was like, it would take way too long to explain. But Steven just texted me a picture of him. He's like sitting on the curb drinking his.
Yeah, I was like, I have to have one of these. I have to. And it was even just out of the can. It was like, oh man, maybe this should be on my top 10 list. It's so good.
Dude, I'm gonna this weekend or Tuesday. I need to do like I gotta find. I feel like it's out there. I'm gonna try to find that and Briny Melon. Yeah, and Briny Melon. Which is I don't want to step on your reveal, but you found 2 other beers as well.
Yeah. Well, also, so the only other thing that was exciting at the beer shop was Transatlantic Creek. So I got that same bottle that you had, which is exciting.
So awesome.
Yeah. And then I was pretty close to a Total Wine at that point, and I'm like, oh, let me just run over there and check out what they have. I'm not like super hot on Total Wine these days, but depending on the style I'm getting. So I just went to go check out what they have, and they do have Anderson Valley stuff pretty regularly. It just depends on what they have. And so I popped in there, and of course, sometimes the Briny Melon that I find there is like just a couple singles, but they had again a couple, like the two cases, 2 6-packs. So I got 12 cans of that. So now I've got 24 cans of
the best Goza.
Yeah, the 2 best Gozas.
I'm convinced this is what's happening to me because I swear I don't see it. The equivalent of you that lives local to me like walks into Total Wine and buys all the Briny Melon Goza, and then like 2 days later I walk in and I'm like, where is it? Like,
okay, so 2 things. One, I left the singles. They had some singled out. I left those, just doing my part
for the Jasons of the world. Yeah,
for the latecomers. But it's so funny because both places, even at Brewty, even at the beer shop. Now, it wasn't like the guy who owned, like usually the guy checking me out was like the guy who owns it.
Right.
And we like, we've talked a lot over of the years. But so this was just an employee, but even he was like, oh, what's this? Like, why are you buying so much of this?
Because he knows you only buy singles.
Yeah. And then at Total Wine, they were like, she's like looking at it like, oh, what is this exactly? Like, why are you buying 2 packs of this?
Yeah, then she goes and buys the rest, and then there's none for me.
Anyway, it's great. I mean, I really, it is mind blowing sometimes because I just think, dude, how we put this out in the universe and it immediately pays back.
The podcast magic is real.
Yeah, it's I would think after so many coincidences, it's just hard.
Well, the assembled armor one for me is like that's the one time I thought
it like gives me the tingles.
Yeah, it's like the universe glitching. Like, what is happening?
Yep.
Yeah. Like,
and
this
like
is
Brooklyn Black Ops, we just happened to do a Brooklyn deep dive, and then I see Black Ops on the shelf in Texas like a few days later,
and then it's gone like 2 hours later. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So weird.
All right, so
what's your story time?
Steven got to buy all the good gozas. So my story time is the reason I missed the interview with Renee is because I was in Canada. So we took our daughter. She's 14 months. It was very successful. Flying with a 14-month is scary. Getting through customs and security was harrowing. But when we finally got her to Canada, she had an amazing time. We took her to the zoo. We did a bunch of fun stuff. The Calgary Zoo is pretty epic. And my wife, being the sweetheart that she is, planned like 3 brewery trips while we were in Canada. And I just wanted to shout one out. It's in Calgary. It's a place called The Establishment. Unbelievable. It was so cool, Steven. It was like they just go look up like their tap list. They have they're making like all the old school beers. So they have like a Czech lager, and they have like I don't think they had a Goza, but they had, just a lot of the old school styles. And then they have like a Nelson hopped hazy. So it's so insane to see like these two polar opposites, I feel, of like the old world beers. But they had a goose. They just have all these old styles, and then they have these like cutting edge.
I feel like I saw Flanders or something.
Yes, they had a Flanders red. Not only that, like you sit down, the tables are just surrounded by barrels because they have a huge barrel aging program. So we ordered some samplers, and we're just tasting everything on the list. And then when I walked up to order food, I noticed that they had like a list, like a bottle list, and I open it and I'm like, oh my goodness, like there's so much insane stuff on here. So I just asked the guy, I don't know if he was the owner, but like, is this stuff cold and ready to drink? And he's like, oh yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Like, let's go. Because they had just some amazing brews. I took 2 off the bottle list. They had one called Resonant Frequencies. And then that was a wild ale. It was incredible. It was kind of a Flanders style. And then they had I also got a Creek off their list, which was called Cherry Colored Funk. But it was so fun. They had all the beer was good. They had the old school styles. They had the new school styles. And then they had, because Untapped helped me here, I looked them up on Untapped and like sorted by highest rating. And one of their highest rated beers is Resonant Frequencies. And then you could just get it. It's like so satisfying. It's like the opposite experience. When I went to Bottle Logic in person, they had nothing. They don't have like a bottle list where you can just order. They should. Like, it'd be so cool if you could go to Bottle Logic and then get a bottle of Fundamental Observation from like 3 years ago. And I feel like Russian River is good about this too. They always have like that hidden list, basically. But such an amazing brewery. I had a great time. So if you're in Calgary or you ever find yourself in Calgary in Canada, definitely hit up The Establishment.
Sounds awesome.
It was awesome. So I just wanted to do that plug. And yeah, there's good beer everywhere now, Steven. Any city you go to, just try to find like their top craft brewery and you're going to hit some good beer. That was my update. Yeah.
Yeah. Your trip in general just looked really cool.
Yeah, it was really fun. And yeah, like I said, my wife's a sweetheart. She's a very type A person.
Beer.
Yeah. She plans out like every hour of the trip, but I trust her because I know we're going to hit like 3 or 4 breweries every trip. All right, Steven, should we get to our main topic?
Let's do it.
All right, white whales. So I have our lists from the last time we recorded, so we can cover that. I know you knocked out a lot of yours. Actually, do you have your list from when we last recorded?
Probably not.
Okay. I'll cover both of ours then. Okay. So here was your
Okay.
list as of the last time we did white whales. You had Julius, which at that point you had, I believe.
Yeah.
Sorry, between now and then you've had,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm very jealous of someone else, by the way. You had Fort Point. You had Fort Point, but you had a variant of
A
it.
variant, yeah.
And you had never had Fort Point. But thanks to yours truly, you had Fort Point when you came and visited me.
Yep.
You had Hetty Topper, which in that same trip we drank together.
And focal.
And Focal Banger. So we crossed off 3 of your white whales. You also had Belgian Red from New Glarus, which you've had.
Yeah.
And then I guess the only one I didn't check with you, the only one left on your white whale list from when we recorded previously was Cucumber Lime Goza from Urban South. Did you have that yet?
I had it, yeah.
So you knocked out your whole white whale list.
Yeah.
Well done, Steven.
I got new ones, though.
Okay. And then mine at the time was Atrial Rubicite, which thanks to Steven, I've caught twice. Hetty Topper, which we had together. Julius, which Steven has had, and that remains on my list. White chocolate wheat wine from the brewery, which remains on my list. That's I don't know how I'm going to get that one. Utopias gets an honorable mention. That was not on your list. It was on mine. I put that we had a close encounter with it. Do you remember? We were at the beer fest. And
We've had multiple close encounters.
We've had multiple close encounters. So one time there was a really organized
we
line.
Can't seal the deal.
We can't get it. Steven, we got to, next time we go, we got to seal the deal. So the first time we got a close encounter with Utopias, there was like this line at the Great American Beer Festival that was like a mile long. It was like wrapping every which way. And we were like, what is this for? And it was for Utopias. And at that time, we had no idea what the Utopias was. And we were like, we're not going to wait in that line. And then like 2 years later, we were like, okay, let's try to get Utopias. And honestly, I'm mad at them. I don't know if I'm mad at Sam Adams or I'm mad at the brewery or I'm mad at the like organizers of the Great American Beer Fest, but they did not form a line. They just kind of let everyone gather around their stand, like in a weird like mosh pit. And you and I both got very uncomfortable. One, we are going to have to wait like an hour. And two, there was almost like no guarantee that you would get it because people were just like pushing past everybody. And we just thought, forget this. So we've had 2 close encounters with Utopias, but we've never had it. And then Black Ops is on my list. And thanks to Steven, I caught that one. And then oddly enough, because I've drank this so many times since then, I had Bourbon County Stout on my list at that time.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So I caught.
Well, it's a little testament to how much easier it is to get.
That is true. I think that is true. So you caught all of yours, but I have 3 carryovers. So what I thought would be fun is if we. So my carryovers are Julius from Treehouse, White Chocolate Wheat Wine from the brewery, and Utopias from Sam Adam. But I thought we could go back and forth and add, because your white list, as of right now, your white whale list is empty. So I thought we could go back and forth and add what are our new white whales. And then, of course, my list will include the 3 that I still haven't caught.
Yeah. Well, I will mention, I'll just say this for the first one. I didn't realize this. I wrote down today white chocolate wheat wine on my list.
Nice.
It just like popped into my head. I was like, oh, yeah, there's that brewery beer that I would really love to try.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's on my new list now.
Okay.
So we
both have wheat wine. Yeah.
Is it the number one? I think it is the number one wheat wine.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think there's
not a lot of wheat wines.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't think it's a large pool. But it is the number one. I don't know how many people make wheat wines. Yeah.
Well, it sounds amazing.
It sounds, and the brewery is pretty solid, so I think it's gonna be. It'd be good if we can ever get our hands on it.
Yeah. Okay, and then where are we going from here?
So why don't you do your list? Is you did okay. So you added white chocolate.
Yeah, white chocolate from the brewery.
Okay, so I'll add one of mine. So it's actually really funny. I added this before I knew we were gonna get a chance to taste it because I've been working on this list for like 2 weeks ago. So the one I just added was Toppling with Vanilla Bean Assassin, which I think we're gonna get to drink at the Firestone Invitational. So very cool. They make Assassin, which is the regular one, and then they make Vanilla Bean Assassin. So honestly, I'd drink either of them would be awesome, but the fact that we're gonna hopefully we'll get to try Vanilla Bean Assassin. I'm very excited. When you went last time, did they have for those beers, is it just first come first serve, or did they have dedicated hours where they pour it?
I don't remember there being a specific release time.
Okay, so
I think
just
it was
so
just get in line.
Just so you know, we're going when the rope drops, we're going straight
So I'm looking at it right now. It says it's the coconut pecan vanilla assassin,
Oh.
not just the vanilla bean.
No, we're not getting vanilla bean. So that's
It
going to
says
stay on my list.
assassin aged on absurd amounts of toasted coconut, roasted pecans, and multiple types of
It's a
vanilla beans.
variant.
It's a variant, but it's not the vanilla bean variant.
All right, cancel the trip, Steven.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll try a variant.
So
Okay, so what's the next one you added to your list?
okay, so it's sort of all encompassing because it's toppling Goliath, but they have three very like high rated stouts: Assassin, Kentucky Brunch Brand Stout, and Morning Delight. Now I do think I have had Morning Delight the very first year the beer festival. Toppling Goliath was there, and I'm pretty sure they had it. You
have like no
it
recollection.
still doesn't mean anything to me.
Sure.
One, I wouldn't have appreciated it, and two, I wouldn't have liked it.
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't have liked it.
Yeah, and I don't really remember. So that's, I think, technically sort of on my list is any one of those like big high-rated stouts from Toppling Goliath, because I think those three beers are like within the top 10 of 250. Like, it's crazy.
That's insane.
And yeah, I've never really had I've had so many Toppling Goliath beers, but not their stouts.
I think we did have Morning Delight.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah, but I don't super remember it either, unfortunately. So I'd like to try it again.
So that's kind of my white whale, just sort of a general like Toppling Goliath rare stout. They're hard to get, so even just getting this vanilla pecan coconut variant of Assassin, I'm pretty excited about.
I'll take it. I thought I must have misread it. I thought it was vanilla bean, but that's okay. I'll take a variant. Hey, it's fun to have. You don't want to knock everything off your whale list. So.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, you did it. We just demonstrated that. Okay, so my next one, and I feel like we had a chance to try this, but I think we missed it. It's Bottle Logic Arcane Rituals, which is their English barley wine, and
it does pop up on Tabor.
Yeah,
I don't know if it pops up on yours.
So it doesn't, because I'm local. Because none of the California stuff pops up on mine, which is really annoying. Yeah. Next time it pops up, you should buy it, and then I'll just pick it up from you. Because that's the kind of beer that just can.
Yeah.
It's not gonna go bad.
Just like whenever I see you next, I'll bring it to you.
Yeah, exactly. But it's ranked number 9 on English barley wine, and I'm kind of in a barley wine stage now. And I love Bottle Logic, so I'd like to try that one. So, yep, that's on the list.
That's a good ad. Yeah, a theme is the dark beers being added. Well, it's always been a theme of your list, but now it's the theme of my life now.
It's primarily. I have some wild cards on here, so you'll see. They're not all bourbon. They're not all like barrel aged. Yeah. Actually, crap, they might be, but that's okay. They're not all stouts or barley wines. There's some other styles.
Okay, awesome. Where will I go from here? Okay, so this is one that I'm very, very excited about because I'm going to put it on the list, and then 2 weeks later, it's going to get caught.
Okay.
But Three Floyd's Marshmallow Hangy.
Yep.
I'm just so excited that that's there. And this is not a variant or anything. This is the Marshmallow Hangy.
No, this is the... Yeah, I'm double checking.
I can't believe it. You know how long that line's going to be.
Okay, so I changed my mind. We're not going to Toppling Goliath first. We're going to Three Floyd. We're going straight to Three Floyd. I'm not kidding, Steven.
Yeah, it might be the best idea.
Because it might cash like immediately. I think we should go straight to Three Floyd's.
I will say, like, I went to Side Project last year very late, and it was a really long line.
Really?
And we still got BBT, so
okay.
I think they do a really good job of bringing enough.
Okay, but I still think we should go straight to Three Floyds.
Yes, there are definitely some things you need to like do first. Yeah,
because that beer is no joke. It's not on my list, but isn't it like number 4 on the top 250 on?
Yeah, it's way up there.
Yeah, we gotta drink that.
Anything I can knock off that top 250 list is worth it.
For sure. Yeah, I mean,
it's number 4.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, we got it. We got to go straight there. Okay, my next one that I added, I'm kind of mad about this one, but I've decided I do want to try it, and I think I might fork out for it because it does pop on Tabor. I really just want to try Anchor Brewing Blessed.
I was going to say Anchorage.
Oh, what did I say? Anchor.
I don't
Oh,
know.
Anchor. I don't know. I'm pretty deep
Anch-
into my
Anchorage. I
two
think you
twelve
just said
plus
Anchor.
percent.
And I was
Anchor.
like,
No, sorry.
Anchorage. Yeah.
Anchorage Brewing Blessed, which is their barrel aged imperial stout. And it does pop up on Tower. I swear they charge like
90 something, I think.
$90
Yeah.
for it or something, but
Yeah. It's it's funny. As soon as you said, like, I guess I'll have to shell out for it, I was like, oh, it must be an Anchorage beer.
oh yeah. That's the thing, like so you know what, actually this is gonna be conditional because Steven and I did buy an unadulterated, so it's not the triple oaked, which is the high rated one, but Tavor did have a deal with the devil. It's a can. They waxed it, which is like silly, like waxing a can, but whatever. We split it, so we both because it was like $56, which is absurd. I hate the pricing on the Anchorage Brewing, but we're gonna drink it on that Friday when you come up before we go to the beer fest. If that blows my mind, then the next time Blessed comes up, I think I'll buy it. But if it's like if it doesn't totally destroy everything I know about craft beer, then there's no way I'm shelling out $100 for Blessed. Because I do think I think they're overhyped. But we'll find out because I've never had like a exceptionally high rated thing from Anchorage. So maybe I just don't know. I do remember, this is tangential, but I got my dad my dad's really into Scotch, and for his 60th birthday I saved up and I got him like now age doesn't always make things better. And it wasn't a single malt, it was a blend. I forgot what it was called. It was really cool. It's very highly rated. And it was like a 31 plus year. So like nothing in that bottle was younger than 31 years. And I remember trying it and I was like, ah, damn. Like,
oh, it is worth it.
Yeah, I got like a peek into a level that's like above any level I've ever had.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this one, I didn't know this existed. Two, I'm sad it is this. And three, I'll never get to play here. It's like, do you remember when we drove supercars for my birthday?
Yeah.
It was that exact same experience. It's like I literally wish I didn't know this existed because like it's just it's an ocean I can't swim in that I know is better than like every ocean I can swim in. So maybe that's what will happen when we drink that.
Yeah,
Deal with the
it's
devil.
possible.
It is possible. And if that's what happens, then I'll fork over for Blessed. But if it doesn't, like if it's just like amazing but not like transcendent, then I'm not gonna buy Best. But I did put it on the white whale list just because I don't know.
Hey, that's what the white whale list is for, right?
Yeah, that's right. So, all right, cool. So
Awesome.
what's your next edition?
Okay, I will depart from. I was gonna add another barrel-aged stout, but I'll depart from that actually. I'm gonna mention Sip of Sunshine from Lawson's Finest Liquids.
Yeah.
The guy that owns the beer bus, he got it recently, and he said it was 100% worth the hype.
Nice.
Surprised at how good it was. So
that's super awesome.
And I think there's a double. There's a Sip of Sunshine and then Double Sunshine or something. So
okay.
They're both on that top 250 list. So
you're like either one.
And I may be wrong about this, totally wrong about this, but I think it's kind of like Heady Topper in that if you're up there in the Northeast, it's pretty easy to get.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's just not easy anywhere else to get. So I think that's the case with this. So eventually I'll make it up there and maybe knock out some Treehouse, Trillium, go up to Vermont.
Dude, we need to
go to Maine Beer Company, do a whole.
So I know we're doing
Northeast thing.
Firestone does not count as our annual trip. I think we need to either we need to bite the bullet and just go to Treehouse.
Yeah.
Or we need to do the Chicago
New Glarus thing.
The Chicago New Glarus. We're doing one or the other this year. You got to look into that a little bit more, but we got to do it.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Okay, so Lawson's. Is it Lawson's Finest Liquids? It's such a cool name.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Sip of Sunshine. All right, so my next one, this is a wild ale, and honestly I didn't know about this brewery until this year, I think, but I did add Side Project Fuzzy.
Nice. Okay.
I don't know if that's something they continuously make, but it's a wild ale. It's a peach wild ale. And it's super high rated. I think it's the #1 rated wild ale on Beer Advocate. So I love wild ales. Like, I don't know. I'd love to try that. I don't know how I will get my hands on it, but I mean, that's what the white whale list is for, you said. But yeah, I would love to get my hands on that.
I was going to pull up what Side Project is bringing.
I don't think they're bringing any like Killer beers.
Yeah, nothing that's like really show-stopping, but it's all going to be very interesting. Like it's definitely it's gonna be worth a stop. It's gonna be worth getting in that line a couple times probably. Derivation, I think, is a bourbon and rum barrel aged stout on coconut and vanilla.
I'll drink that.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty good. They only have one saison, which kind of surprises me, but their saison last year was the best saison I've ever had. So
Okay.
definitely worth a stop. But yeah, kind of a little, like I said, I was very disappointed with the list that there was no BBT or
I
anything
know.
like crazy rare on there. But yeah,
That's okay.
Fuzzy, who I have
So,
kind of a peach wild ale from Degard,
okay.
I think it's called, and I can't remember. Wow, I can't remember exact, but yeah,
Well,
I have a peach wild ale.
do you know what the number 2 wild ale is ranked on Beer Advocate?
Rubsite?
Yeah. Atrial
Yeah.
rubicite. So that's what I want to try. Because atrial rubicite is like, it's so good. So I'm like, if Fuzzy is higher rated, I gotta try Fuzzy. I honestly think it'd be so fun. This will never happen, but to try those side by side.
Yeah.
But yeah, atrial rubicite, damn. So good.
It's called the peach from Degard Brewing in Oregon.
Oh, okay.
Same thing, really high rated. I think it's number 6 on the wild ale list.
Yep, sure is.
So I guess actually I'll transition then. On my white whale list now is Cable Car from Lost Abbey,
Oh, okay.
which is number 4, which is going to be at the Firestone Walker Invitational. So they're gonna have Cable Car.
I did not realize that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's exciting.
So it's kind of a double. I want the Cable Car and Cable Car Creek,
Okay.
but they will have just the regular Cable Car at the Firestone Walker Invitational. So I'm super excited about that.
Very
That's one where
nice.
I'm like adding it to the list and then have a really good chance of knocking it off 2 weeks later.
I know you're like, it's not gonna be on your list very long. Okay, I'm gonna add cable car to mine too, just so I can say cracked it off.
There's another one too I'm gonna catch at the beer fest. So, and I think we tried to catch us at the beer fest, the Great American Beer Festival, and we didn't. Notorious Triple IPA from Boneyard.
So a couple things about Boneyard. I really want to try because Notorious what is it called again? Notorious what?
Notorious Triple IPA, like Notorious 3 IPA.
Didn't that beat Pliny the Younger one year? It's something like that.
No, the thing that beat Pliny was a Moonraker.
Oh, it was a Moonraker. That's right.
I can't remember the name of that one, but yeah.
But yeah, that Notorious is supposed to be insanely good. But they make Hop Venom. Have you ever had that? I don't think they're bringing that.
Mm-mm.
I found that once. That beer is insanely good. Really, really solid. So I'm excited to try but that Hop Venom blew me away. So I'm really excited to try their Notorious. Yeah.
I mentioned in our top 10 episode how Pliny the Younger, like I feel like that beer is in a category of its own in terms of what it is. But from what I've read about Notorious IPA, it's similar, I think. Very much that West Coast, like clear, huge grapefruit pine.
Mm-hmm. The old school, the old magic.
But 11.5% ABV. So that I'm excited for that one.
All right, very cool. I'm actually super excited for that one too. I didn't put it on my white whale list, but I think that's going to be good. All right, so my next one, and I'm totally going to butcher the name of this. So I have a friend that listens to the podcast, and he's had this. And so, Mark, this is an honor of you. I don't know how we'll ever get this. It's the number 1 ranked quad, Trappist quad. It's Trappist West Bellerton 12.
Okay.
You can only get it. You basically have to go
at the Abbey.
You have to go to the monastery on appointment, or there's a bar across the street where they have it. It's insanely hard to get. So that's Stephen. When we do our tour of Europe and we go beer tasting, we got to drink this because it's the number 1 quad. So I'm putting it on there, but it's probably not getting crossed off for years and years and years and years.
The long shot.
But you know what? That's what the white whale list is for. Is for trying to get stuff that might take a lifetime to get, right?
I know. I feel really bad that I'm adding stuff that I feel like I'm gonna get soon.
Yeah, you got to add some things that we're not gonna get, Steven.
Well, I feel like this was on my original list. maybe this was a bucket list kind of. Maybe it was. We did that bucket list episode, didn't we? Of
Yeah.
of stuff or experience we wanted to have, but like a Leipzig Goza, actually drinking Goza in
Yes.
Leipzig, Germany.
I remember that. Yeah. That'd be
Um,
amazing.
we could consider that a white whale just because it's gonna take a very coordinated trip
Oh,
to
we're going.
Europe.
We're going. That's like our post-retirement trip.
I was gonna say we're gonna be in our 60s probably,
Yeah,
but
we won't be able to taste anything anymore, but
that's all right.
that's all right. We'll still experience it. All right, so do you have another one for your new list?
Yeah. Well, this one will be another good, not gonna catch it for a while probably. Is really anything, specifically Anne, but really anything from Hill Farmstead.
Okay.
They're, very much like a sort of a wild ale brewery, saison stuff, but all their stuff is just, I mean, everyone I've talked to a few people who have been there, and they just said it's incredible. Very well worth the trip. However you need to get Hill Farmstead stuff, it's worth it. So
Okay. Very good.
yeah. So they have a few top rated stuff. I think there's one called Clover. Yeah, there's a couple, but there's Anna, and then whatever they do from Anna, like they barrel age it or something, and it turns to Anne. So yeah, there's like a whole thing. But
that's cool. I like when they do stuff like that. Like Rusty Nail was the first nail, but then they like transmute it into something more epic.
Yep. Anything from Hill Farmstead would be fantastic.
Okay. Yeah, I see them on this list. That's really cool. I didn't add anything else. That's the end of mine. Did you have more?
Okay. Well, I'm excited to drink barrel aged Abraxas.
Yes. So we both were such suckers. Steven texted me.
Well, it's just, what is it? Number 5, 6 or something?
Yeah, it's up there.
And it's like, I can't not do this. I know it's expensive, but I have to jump on this opportunity to drink.
So this is why I'm hesitant about Abraxas. Actually, this is a fun story. On Wednesday, I had a really fun night because I was joking around. I drank Founders KBS spicy chocolate. And I was like, you know what, this is good, but you know what this is not? Hubbard's Cave El Zacathon. So I text Steven the KBS spicy chocolate, and then like an hour later, I text him the Hubbard's Cave El Zacathon, and I said death to Jeep impersonators. Because
that's the importance of side-by-sides right there.
I did try them side by side. KBS spicy chocolate is good, but like the spice, the spicy pepper is so subdued. It's like barely there. And then you try Hubbard's Cave and you're like, it's like rolling waves of spiciness like throughout. And it's really helped by I think they use almond flour in there. Like that is an amazing beer. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. I am adding one more beer to my white whale list. Barrel aged El Zacaton, which I think you've had.
Yeah.
I want that so bad because just drinking that El Zacaton again is like, wow, this beer is incredible. So, okay, I have one more white whale. But that's why I'm a little bit excited about the barrel-aged Abraxas because it's very similar. It's like a barrel-aged spicy and I think cinnamon. Like, it's basically that style that I got obsessed with like probably 3 or 4 years ago. And I've had regular Abraxas and it just didn't blow me away. So, yeah, the barrel-aged is going to be... It's barrel-aged with chilies, chocolate, vanilla, and cinnamon. So that is that style of like that mole, Mexican mole style. And it's barrel aged. So I'm excited to try it. And I'm willing to admit I was wrong. But I just remember I tried Abraxas, the regular one, and I was not blown away. But you know what, Steven? I did actually notice something because I think I either got it off Tab or I got it off Total Wine. I was at Total Wine 2 months ago and they had a regular Abraxas. And I didn't notice this, but on the side it says drink fresh. So it's very possible that I drink an old Abraxas. And maybe that's why I wasn't blown away. And this one should be, the barrel aged I think is different. I think you can age that one, but apparently that regular non-barrel aged Abraxas, it says, I think it even says keep cold, drink fresh. Like that is not a beer to be aged. So maybe that's why I had a bad experience, but we'll see. So we're both gonna have the. You know what we should do? Maybe we should save it for an episode, and we should both have it as our beer. But
See what we think. Yeah. I just looked up the barrel aged El Zacaton, like my notes,
what did you write?
and I just wrote phenomenal, sweet milk chocolate, maple syrup, perfectly balanced with chili heat and wood char. So I think
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean, as much as you like El Zacaton, you just add a barrel layer to that, and
Yeah.
you understand why it's so good.
Well, the thing I like about El Zacaton too is nothing wrong with the spicy chocolate, but like I like spice, and El Zacaton is like actually spicy. When you're like halfway through it, you're like, oh, I'm experiencing spiciness. Like, whereas like the spicy chocolate, it's just like, okay, I guess this is spicy. And I know spicy is like, my wife is like levels above me when it comes to spiciness. And there's no like common language. Like you can't communicate to another human like how spicy you like food. You just have to like both try the same thing and see what happens. Because like she'll eat stuff that like I'll take one bite of and be like, no. And
oh, that's funny. I didn't know that about her.
Oh, we call her the hot master.
That's funny.
But you know what's really funny is we've been like very carefully giving our little daughter she's 14 months, but we give in her things that are mildly spicy. And literally just today I was eating like a spicy chicken, like a soup, and she desperately wanted to try it for lunch. And I looked at my wife, I was like, should we do it? Because we don't want to give her something too spicy, because obviously it's gonna make her like suffer unnecessarily. But she's like, it's not that spicy. Try it. So I gave her a noodle, and she tried it, and she had the reaction of like, what is happening to me? And then she went, more. Which is more is technically this, but the way she sounds more is this.
Okay.
And I looked at Courtney, I was like, that's your daughter. Like,
she got it.
Like, she didn't like it, and then 5 seconds later, she's like, I want to try that again. So we were feeding her the spicy noodles, and she was loving it. So she's gonna be the new hot master. Like, she's gonna put us both to shame. So we'll see.
At a young age.
But yeah, I mean, El Zacaton does have like that. It has like the chilies are
actual heat
are there. Like you'll feel it. So that's what I like about it. So I think is that it? Is that our white whale list?
Yeah, I mean, we got a bunch of stuff on there we're gonna have to work at.
All right. Well, 2020 7. We'll do white whale list 3 revisited, and we'll see. Hopefully, we'll do our Europe trip before then.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll have gotten to at least to the Northeast, maybe.
Yeah. We'll either do Treehouse or the New Glarus / Chicago trip before then. All right, cool. Well, I guess we can call that an episode. If you want to reach us, we're on Instagram at attenuation.podcast. And you can also email us at contact.attenuation@gmail.com.
Hey, you can find us on TikTok too.
Oh,
by the way.
Yeah, Steven's uploading our stuff on TikTok. Check out Instagram. And are you putting the reels on TikTok? Like your
Yes. Yeah, for the most part.
That's my favorite content on Instagram. I know it's us, but it's technically you. Every time I see one, I'm like, I'm watching this. I love your reels, Steven.
I'm glad you do. Really glad you do.
Just keep grinding. So
I just put one out before this episode too. So
okay, I'll go check it out right after this.
You'll like this one.
But yeah, so contact at attenuation@gmail.com, and this has been episode 107 of Attenuation of Beer Podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade.
That's me. Dude, he's gone.
Dude, This is the one where I flew too close to the sun. Can you blame me? I'm drinking very strong beers over here.
It's fine.
So cheers, and we'll see you next time.
All right, cheers.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Attenuation of Beer Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok for more fun content. Catch you next time. Cheers!